no matter how much you want your love and relationship life to be different, you're always going to end up in the same heartbreaking situation unless you change this one thing. Have you ever wondered why you always end up in the same experience time and time again, no matter how much you try and do things differently? It might be with the same man or a different man each time, but you end up in that same devastating situation. Even when you're an awake and intelligent woman making new choices. Some women even like to write a list. You know, the list where you write down all of the attributes that you want in a man so that next time when you meet somebody, you're going to be sure to check off that list and you won't even date them unless they meet that list. Some women even end up with a man who checks off everything from their list, but still end up in the same experience of relationship, frustrated, devastated, annoyed, and sad. It's not fair, and it happens again and again. And this is why I've spent 25 years of my life as a love and relationship specialist working out exactly why this happens and how we can change it. It's such a big part of healthy love and relationship that I've dedicated an entire code to this in the Love Codes program. It's code number 4, Heartbreak No More. And I actually want to share this with you today so that you can apply this to your own love and relationship life straight away and start to get some immediate results. Now, to do this, I need you to understand that the reason that you find yourself in the same patterns all the time, no matter how much you try not to, is because you have a predetermined love or relationship programming that is held in your unconscious mind. This is because in the first 7 years of your life is when you do most of your mind mapping. As a child, you're creating a structure of what the world means. And specifically, you're creating a structure of what it means to be in a relationship, how that feels and what it looks like. This is based on the world around you in those first 7 years, primarily your parents or your primary guardians. Also, the culture around you is going to have an impact. All of these beliefs are then held unconsciously in your mind. The problem with that is you don't even know that you have them. And there are a lot of negative beliefs held in the unconscious mind around relationships and love. And they're not generic, they're going to be personal to you. Until you discover exactly what they are and change them, you are going to end up in the same experience because your unconscious mind will be silently drawing you towards situations that are going to give you that same experience, even if on the outside the experience or the man looks very different to the last one. So I want to give you an experience of how we can change this right now. Remember I mentioned the list earlier? This is something that I do with all of my Love Codes graduates, and they find it to be extremely transformational. Now, I mentioned we need to discover what those unconscious beliefs are and then change them. And the biggest part of this process, the hardest part and the greatest step, is actually discovering what those unconscious beliefs are. Because as I said, they're unconscious. You don't know that you have them. So I'm going to do this with you today. So if you don't already have a pen and paper, go and grab one, press pause. And I want you to take a moment to think about your ideal relationship. And as you do that, really close your eyes and really let yourself go there. Really let yourself experience it and feel it. Imagine what it's like. And I want you to listen out for a little negative, annoying voice. And there will be one there, I promise you. We all have it. I'm still pulling them out now, 25 years later. So closing your eyes, imagining your most amazing, wonderful relationship. Go to town with it. Let it be really spectacular. Feel it. And listen to that negative voice. And when you hear what it's telling you, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. You don't need to tell anybody else. I just want you to see it for yourself. I'll do it too. Okay, I have mine. Now, if you need more time, as I said, press pause and do this in your own time and then come back. And when you do come back, I want you to just look at that little negative belief that you've written down there. I'm doing this as quickly as I can to give you as much as I can today. But when we do this in the Love Codes program, we go deeply into it and people come out with about 10 to 20. But just for now, let's see that one. The one that I realized I have still now, because I do this process ongoingly and keep changing them. The one that I have now is that I'm running out of time. I mean, I'm 44, right? I'm in a happy very beautiful relationship, and I was imagining an aspect of my relationship that I want to do next. And the negative belief that came out for me was, I'm running out of time. Maybe yours is the same. Maybe yours is that it's too late. I'm too old. I'm too aggressive. Men don't like me. I don't have enough time. Men are intimidated by me. Men don't want to commit. Whatever it is, I want you to notice that it's there. And what I can tell you from my 25 years of experience is that these negative beliefs are there for every single woman. And they are silently and powerfully drawing you towards the experience that is going to validate that negative belief. This is just awful. This is just so destructive, and it absolutely has to change. And that is exactly what we do in the Love Codes program. When we do Code 4, Heartbreak No More, we discover what these personal negative beliefs are around love and relationship, and then we change them. And today, right now, you have already created a big change. You have accessed 90% of the change, because the biggest part of this change work, the biggest part of this transformation is recognizing what the unconscious belief is. That is the hardest thing to do, and it is the biggest part of the process. So by simply recognizing that today, you are bringing awareness, and it's no longer unconscious. You can go and do this now after you've watched this video. Do it for at least 5 minutes and write them all down. You will be surprised at what's in there. There may be some in there that don't surprise you, but there are always some unconscious negative beliefs around relationship that will surprise you, and we have to weed them out. Now, this process is one of the more challenging pieces in the Love Codes program, and I know that all my graduates will say that. When they first do it, they kind of say, oh yeah, that's nice, we can, sit down and think about our list, and then they start to write down all these answers, and they're pretty confronting, some of them. But then doing the change work itself it's such a big piece. It's such a big transformation that all of the graduates of the Love Codes find themselves at the end of this very surprised and entering into relationships in a whole new way. I'm thinking of 2 of the graduates in particular who found themselves entering into a relationship very differently. One of them was single, and the next man that she ended up being in a relationship was completely different to anyone that she'd ever been attracted to before, and they're still together now. And another one of the women was actually married already, and she changed this within herself, and her husband started to respond and act differently to her than he ever had before. It was a profound change for her, and it is the thing that in the end saved their marriage. So I'm so happy to have been able to share this with you today, because it is a really big piece of creating healthy and happy love and relationship. Until we recognize and change these unconscious beliefs, you're going to end up in the same old situation again. So well done. Well done for taking the time to actually sit down and let yourself be confronted by what might be in there and start to make the change. You are 90% of the way there already. So well done. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to know any more about the offerings that I have, or dig a little deeper into these codes, then just come and visit me at my website, belindabailey.com.